Welcome back to Farrand Friends Friday. I'm Karen Waltuck, the horticulturist from the Beatrix Farrand Garden Association in Hyde Park, New York. We're back in the FDR home vegetable garden to get a little update with National Park Service horticulturist Anna de Cordova. If you want to check out an earlier video, we met up with Anna earlier this spring and she talked a little bit about the restoration of the garden and how they choose the plants and start the seedlings that go into the garden. So let's go join Anna and see how things are coming up right now this July.
Hi, I'm Anna de Cordova and want to welcome you back to the Roosevelt home garden. Last time we looked at the garden, we were up in the greenhouses and all these plants were just little seedlings in a tray. We thought we'd take a walk through the garden and show you how things are progressing this summer. As we move through the garden, you can see in the first row we have artichokes planted and kale, and we've been harvesting both kale and kohlrabi, and artichokes we picked for the first time this last week. Between the rows we have clover planted, which makes a great soil improving cover crop, but also a very nice path for us to walk on, harvest from, and operate in. So those are the green strips between the vegetables. And a lot of people ask us what we mulch with. We try to always use recycled materials in our gardens. So these are all leaves from the entire Roosevelt Vanderbilt National Park that we collect every fall. They go to a main area and the grounds crew puts them through a grinder for us, which makes this beautiful fine textured leaf mulch that we use on most of our vegetable beds. The mulch is helping us keep the roots cool, hold moisture in, and obviously prevent weeds. We call that fine textured ground leaf mulch our fancy leaf mulch. We also just use whole leaves, and that might be easier for some of you in the home garden. There's only one situation we've run into here where whole leaves have really been a problem for us, and the ground leaves would have been a problem too, and that's with our cucurbits, our squash, pumpkins, melons. We have a very bad problem with squash bug, and they tend to just drop down and hide in the leaf mulch when we're trying to control that pest. So we're experimenting this year with some paper mulch and a corn-based degradable plastic mulch. These are obviously not historic items, but the plants are the wonderful heirloom varieties that the Roosevelts grew, and we would like to get all the way to a market quality zucchini, squash, melon. So we are trying these different materials, and we'll keep you posted on how they work. So far so good. A little tricky to get down on a windy day, but other than that we're doing okay with them. Leeks, our cucumbers. The cucumbers are going to grow on this concrete rewire, which makes an easy and inexpensive trellis. We have watermelon and muskmelons here. Our Brussels sprouts and cabbages complete this bed. This quadrant of the garden, we're just doing cover crops this year, and right now we have peas and oats that have been cut a few times. We were in such a drought that we haven't yet turned it over to sorghum, which will be our next cover crop, or Sudan grass, and that's one that grows all season, looks like very tall corn, but we can just keep mowing it and dropping it down and adding organic matter to the garden, and it regrows. So that, if we continue to get a little bit more rain, we'll switch over to Sudan grass. But for now, the peas and oats are doing a good job of building our soil. This area, you're seeing the end of our cool season crops. We've pulled all of the lettuce plants and harvested that for market. Peas are finishing. We'll be taking those down and off the trellis. We'll reseed peas in August and have another crop when the nights are cooler in the fall. And in this area, we actually had good success with non-historic warm season lettuce plants. So we'll be starting warm season lettuces shortly, and then we'll replant these with those lettuces for the heat of summer, and then back to our historic lettuce varieties, which are all fabulous for the late season. In this quadrant, we have a lot of our kind of more Mediterranean and warm season things. We have okra here, and I just noticed film that we have a beautiful first okra pod. Things really sped along in the heat, so some of this stuff is, I feel, almost a little rushed. Behind me you can see our heirloom tomato collection, and we've just finished training these all to 2 liters, and every plant has 2 vines that will go up a line to the top, and then we'll have a system where we can actually lower that vine down and have it regrow to the top. So it's sort of a vertical space saving trellising system. There's many different ways to train and prune tomatoes, but the general idea is that in controlling all that foliar growth and reducing some of the amount of stems you have will increase your yield and increase light and air to the plants and keep them healthier longer. So just beyond the tomatoes, we have our pepper collection, and then under the white floating row cover is eggplant. We'll be taking that off this week or next. Those plants are starting to flower, and we need them out in the open air so they can be pollinated and grow those beautiful eggplants. But we cover them because we get a lot of flea beetle damage, and when the leaves are small, those little holes that flea beetles make can be very devastating as a leaf tries to expand. And so we just cover them until the plants are a little bit more mature, and then we don't worry about flea beetle later in the season. Still get the pest, but not as damaging to the plant. I just wanted to mention that the small space garden has really taken off. There's so many fun systems to see in here. The plants are fabulous. We've harvested just tons of food out of here for market, and to come and check it out when you can. Probably Karen will do a video another time on, you know, what's going on inside. Here are a couple features that weren't in place the last time you guys visited, and that is the straw bales are in place, and we have peanuts, okra, and nasturtium and calendula starting in here. There's always a little transplant shock into a straw bale garden. It's hot, it's slimy, but come look at this in a few weeks and things will have settled in. And behind us we have a little demonstration of how to train a tomato to 2 liters. So I hope everyone has a chance to come and see this space in person. It's just so much fun and so full of great ideas.
Thanks a lot for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you have a question or suggestion for something you'd like to see us talk about in a future video, feel free to drop an email to info@beatrixfarrandgarden.hydepark.org. We'll see you next week.